Hey, everybody. Hope you can hear the live stream. Is chat enabled? Let's see. Huh. I'm not seeing anything. Are people having trouble logging in? Dang, Google is changing everything all the time. Why do they have to change this? Ergs. Huh. All right. Well, I can see something there. Hey. Hey, gang. Good. Can you hear me okay? Coming in okay? Reload the page. I can see it now. GMAC or somebody, can you hear me? All right, cool. Sounds good. All right. We're back to our old setup for a moment. Got the new laptop in and all that. So while we're waiting, I think this is probably going to be a shorter one than usual, just because, I don't know, things have been sort of piling up, and I started my first week of work, and yesterday was my anniversary. So 28 years. So that's pretty good. And so I was concentrating on that. Sorry, guys, instead of y'all. All right. Okay. Well, it's weird that we had to do that. Let me say hi to folks, and then we'll get going. So TBA, hello, Matt. Hey, good to see you. Ron, GMAC, Frank, Robbie Love, Nemo Unknown, good to see you. ML, good to see you as well. Elf, good to see you. David Smith. And Geert is here. Okay, so we have a lot of folks here, sort of the usuals. Dan McGee. So I did want to say I'm going to take next week off, so there's not going to be a live stream next week. We'll do the 2 videos. Hey, Wilf, good to see you. We'll do the 2 videos, but I got to have some time to kind of recharge the sort of the just to get recharged a little bit, so I don't burn out on this and get some new ideas going. So anyway, as we're waiting, we have a little bit to go. As we're waiting, let me try this little thing I was messing around with this morning and see how it goes and see how I like it. All right. Yeah, well, I don't know, Garrett, I get a real charge out of doing it. So there we go. Were there any reminders this morning? There was none this morning, but I did post one yesterday. I posted on my channel. So, and I posted on Facebook as well. So I post on Facebook, I post on channel, I post on my friend's Facebook, I post on my Mark's Music Emporium Facebook, I post on YouTube, on my channel, or under community, it would be there. Thanks, ML, I appreciate it. Yeah. So that's another thing, you know, if YouTube's always screwing with this too. If you don't click that bell, you don't get the notice. And I think probably most of you have the bell clicked, but my wife clicked the bell and she didn't get a notice. So strange. All right. Let me do my thing here while we're waiting. While we're waiting. Okay, so let's see. There we go. Okay, that's it. Here we go. Let's play around a little bit. There we go. Kind of messed up a little bit at the end there, but hopefully that was kind of fun. Yeah, I need somebody to play with around here. Got a few people around, but anyway, too many backing tracks these days. So anyway, at least I try to keep doing that a little bit. All right. So nominally to all right. Yeah, when's your friend coming on the channel? Oh, great. So a couple of people. One is my friend Nate. Unfortunately, my friend Nate injured his hand, I think. So we just haven't been able to get together, and either I've been injured or he's been injured, and we just haven't been playing. And thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Kevin. All right. So we haven't been doing it, but my friend from Ithaca College, I'm going to be interviewing him on the channel pretty soon. He's a pretty close. He worked with Rick Beato at Ithaca College for a long time, and he's got a lot of background. So maybe we'll play a little bit together if I'm lucky. He's fun to jam with. So yeah, we'll bring over some stuff. Probably play some acoustic mostly. All right. So I think this one's going to be pretty short. I think the idea is simply this: if you take a riff or lick, whatever that is, like that was kind of a rocky, funky type thing that we just played. And so you take maybe a lick like a, or something like that. And oh, I see. I know some of the part of the problem. Something like that. And then you see if you can figure out other ways of playing that lick. You take the idea and then you move it into other things. Now, what we're going to explore today is just to simply move it into other genres. And sometimes that's something that people don't think of, right? So if you do play different styles, if you play funk, or if you play blues, or if you play rock, or if you play country, you can flip those into different styles. Now, I've got some notes here just so I make sure I cover I'm just going to cover a few today, but let's try this one. So, and I don't know if it makes sense. It might make more sense to play this on the telly. So let's try playing it on the telly. Well, I tell you, I really screwed up my shoulder on Friday. I thought it was, I screwed it up fishing because I was lifting the kayak and I really messed it up. But there we go. Anyway, let's see if I'm still in tune. Oh, yeah, I got to plug in, don't I? Might sound a little bit better on telly. Hopefully you can still get that. Yeah. And, GMAC, I didn't really catch much either, so it's totally not worth it. But have I ever been too drunk to fish? Nope. Nope, never have been. Okay. All right, so let's try something like this. So well, let's try that again. Let me try one more time, okay? I'm not getting the right sound here, and I'm not playing the right fingers here. So the lick is, I really should prep this a little bit more, yeah? All right, so it's something like this. What? Ah! Like that, okay? So it's kind of a Stones-ish sort of lick, kind of rockish, right? So, and it's all based on this on this D triad, and and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of a rock lick, and you can, or a rock riff, whatever you want to call it, and you can move it into different places. So, for example, if you change the sound around just a little bit, like maybe take a little bit of the heat off of it. See if I can make sure I have enough volume here. A little more. So if you take the heat off of it a little bit more, you've got basically this G triad to a D triad. And you can R&B-ify it if you want by just playing sixth. And that's a perfectly good R&B lick now. It's a little bit different, but you've just changed it around just a little bit. Change the sound. Right? And now you've got two licks instead of one, right? So you've got if you want to make it a harder thing, you simply play, change maybe the pickup and make it more rock. And you want to R&B-ify it, just slow it down a little bit and play that. So and that'll work. And then what's another genre that you might want to try? You might want to try, say, a country genre. So if we try country, I'll play stay with the telly. I'll put it on my this guy here. Could this work with power chords too? Yeah, absolutely it can. But basically the idea here is if the idea first is a power chord idea, maybe we'll explore that a little bit, Matt. But let's keep an open mind. It sort of depends on where you start. I'll try one where I start with the blues a little bit later, and then we'll show how you can make it into rock or make it into country. But let me just finish this one with country. So we're working with this idea of going sort of to a G to a G to a D. Let's see if I can right? So we could try something like this. A little more country might be a little bit higher. Something like that. So that might be better. So one more time. And if you work with it a little bit, you'll even find better things that you can do, and or better things that you can do with what's going on. So maybe I could try this instead. That's kind of nice, right? It's still basically the same lick. It's still basically the same lick. I'm just moving it to a different triad. You see how this is a D right here with the D on the top note. And I'm hammering on to the G, which is this. That's a G triad. Kind of nice. I like that one, actually. I like the country one best out of those. I think it works really nice with this. All right. Yeah, you could make it reggae by changing the beat, right? You could try and do that anyway. Let's see how we would do that one. Maybe keep it clean. Put it on the middle part. So. Or something like that. I got to get the upbeat. Something like that. All right. Trevor Traby asked, is that a Squire? It is a Squire, yeah. I've been made fun of plenty for using this. It is super nice. $199, and you should feel the neck on this thing. It's unreal. I go to it all the time. All right. I don't know. Is that how different songs come up with different artists come up with different riffs? There's definitely a lot of like borrowing between different artists, right? If you take a song and then put it into a different genre. I mean, I can think of like Devo doing it with I Can't Get No Satisfaction, or, some other ones as well. Yeah. And it's hard to think about. I think some people, once you play the song, I was having a conversation with a friend also about this and why it's hard to do. And he said sometimes there's a number of songs, once you hear one artist do it, then you can't hear another artist do it. It's always sort of the definitive thing. James Taylor is kind of one of these guys who does that. I think once he does his version, it's hard to think of any other version. Yeah. Yeah. Reggae Led Zeppelin. Well, Zeppelin did sort of do that with Dire Maker, right? It's kind of like that, but yeah, so that's a good way of doing it. Take a famous riff and then turn that into something else. Let's do one more example, and then I'll just kind of stop with the examples. So this one is going to start somewhere other than rock and roll. So this one, I'm going to try and start it in so it's kind of a blues, right? Something like that. All right, so we're going to start with a blues. It's kind of like a Stevie Ray Vaughan blues, so it's kind of already halfway to rock. But, what would be something that you would do to make it sound more, I don't know, country? Well, one thing you could do is put in doubles. Well, you change the neck pickup to the bridge pickup for sure, right? That's one thing you'd do. And then maybe you'd fiddle with the knobs, maybe take off any distortion. And that's pretty high picking right there. And you'd play it in major. Well, it kind of already is in major. It's kind of almost there. But you're right. Maybe play it in major. So that's a good thing to think about. If we just played it straight minor, what I should do first is probably think about the essence of that. And it's basically that's basically what it is. It's kind of coming up from this B major, right? Which is a very similar chord. It's related to the G minor, and then which is an A sort of minor, and then G minor, right? So that's the minor part there. And there's some blues affectations in that. But this note right here is kind of giving it that Stevie Ray feel, right? So if you take that out, it sounds a little bit different. And so you can play around with that, like something like that might actually work. I don't know if you can hear that. It keeps getting quieter. Or put it into a major, right? Kind of work around with that, and maybe you can get it. Something like that. Anyway, you can work around with that a little bit. And Zepparella. All right, let's see. What a Ron check. Oh, the humanity. Fred Zeppelin. Love it. we'll do, like I said, we'll just do one more. If we're going in rock, you know, maybe we would try something like, you know, rock and Stevie Ray Vaughan blues are pretty close. So, you know, something like that. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Not really too much, just a couple of licks and saying how can you turn them from one to another. But I mean, I think, you know, if you think about the sound and you think about the typical adornments, and I think, you know, I can't remember who said it, but somebody said also going from major to a minor, you know, instead of playing this, you know, something like that, you want to make it into a happier sound. So, you know, something like that. Something like that. It's a similar sort of lick, same sort of cadence, you know. All right. So, and one last thing is Matt asked about power chords. So if you have a, you know, a lick that's in power chords, the beauty of it, you know, like a, you know, you can turn it into blues by sort of making it by making it swing a bit, taking off a little bit of the heat for one thing. You know, something like that, and it sounds less rock than blues anymore. And boy, country, making that into country, that might be kind of tough, but I'm sure it can be done. Let me think about that one. I'll try and make it into, try and make Smoke on the Water into a country song or a blues song. There is, I kid you not, there is a wonderful, it's awesome video of a guy who does Smoke on the Water in sort of fingerstyle jazz, and it's incredible. So you should check it out for sure. Yeah, just check it out. I forget the guy who does it, but he's an awesome guitar player. All right. Well, let's see. Adding goat's notes works when playing country. Right, it does, absolutely. So you can add certain affectations, like you said, in country that's going to be like ghost notes. If you're playing jazz, like if you're playing jazz and you're trying to make a bendy lick into something else, you'd probably slide maybe. You know, so you know, something like that is a sort of a jazz. You know, they'll play more like that than they will bending it up. You don't hear that kind of stuff, right? But you might hear. You know, kind of stuff like that. Not really a jazz player, but you hear a lot more chromaticism. So you'd put in chromatics as opposed to bends. And you know, you can fill in pentatonic lines with chromatics, and it sounds pretty good. So anyway, and you can use classical arpeggios, absolutely. You know, if you want to go classical or whatever, you can go to arpeggios. Lucas Brar, yeah, is that right? Yeah, it wasn't that awesome. I remember seeing that, and it got a little bit old after a while, but really amazing player for sure. And really cool how he did that. All right. And so I'll tell you what, why don't we get to the quiz? The quiz is actually one of TBA's. I want to put this down because my shoulder's really killing me. Oh, God. I can barely lift that, and that's a light guitar. Sure glad I bought the light version. Yeah, GMAC knows a ton. Knows a ton. All right. Well, this one is going to test a bunch of us, I think, and we'll just kind of go into this, and we can stop. We can stop anytime we want, and just have a chat about whatever. JJB, hey, how are you doing? Good to see you. Good to have everybody on. So this isn't really I guess it's a quiz, but it's just more like chats and stuff like that. So this is famous guitars or famous types of guitars. And um, yeah, famous guitars and famous types of guitars. Now, GMAC, I hope when we do the quizzes, you're not looking up on Google. That's not, you shouldn't do that. I can't control it, right? All right. So this is famous guitars, and yeah, famous guitars, and maybe they could either be specific guitars or they could be types of guitars. All right. So this is just kind of for fun. So, for example, what's B.B. King's guitar that he always played? What's B.B. King's guitar? What's he famous for? That's right. David McBlain says Lucille. Right. Right. And what was Lucille? It turns out there were many Lucilles. Just like B.B. King had a lot of wives, he had a lot of Lucilles too. So they were always ES type of guitars, from ES 335s early on to, I think later he did 345 and even some other weird ones. So yeah. Yeah. So it's a Gibson ES 33 blank. But they were always of that type. You need that sweet sound, right? Okay. So that's an example. An ES 175. Now, who played an ES 175? Did Steve Howe play a 175? What did Steve Howe play? What did Steve Howe play? Anybody remember? What do I use to clean my maple neck with? I just use a rag and some polish. Occasionally I use some polish, but mostly just water and dry it. Make sure it gets dried. I don't clean my necks too much. I hate to say this. 335. I know Steve Howe played a 335 for a while, but he played that really fat hollow body. I thought it was a 175. Yeah, real trebly. Okay, so the Stratocaster that Clapton played, what was its name? What was its name? I think I already saw somebody say it. Blackie. That's right. That's right. So I missed this, but Garrett said there's something about a story about B.B. King and how he got the name Lucille. I'd love to hear that. All right. Now, Clapton also had one called Brownie, which was like I think it was like a sunburst. He called it Brownie. All right. Now that's okay. What was his he had an SG that was famous also. Anybody remember what that was called? Robbie Love coming in instantly. It was called The Fool. That's right. The Fool. It's interestingly, Alex Lifeson had an SG, or had a guitar that he painted. He tried to paint it like The Fool. It came out terrible, but that's what he did early on. So he was heavily influenced by Cream. You can obviously tell from early Rush, they're very Cream-like, I think. All right, the fail. Okay. What was SRV's guitar? SRV's guitar. Pancakes. First wife. That's right. GMAC, that's one of his things. He called it his first wife, or he called it number one. I think he had a few of them, but his main Strat was called number one. He sometimes called it his first wife. All right. Love it. Yeah. So effectively Lenny, right? Okay. How about Les Paul's famous guitar? Now, obviously, he has his name on a few. But what was Les Paul's guitar? That's right, the Log. The Log. Huh. BB ran back into the burning barn to get a guitar. Wow, that's pretty interesting. So the log was actually like one of the first solid body electric guitars. I don't know exactly what its configuration was. I haven't seen it, but I don't remember it. But that eventually became the Gibson Les Paul. All right. Let's see. What was Randy Rhoads famous for playing? What was Randy Rhoads famous for playing? Lenny was SRV's White Strat. Okay. Yeah, GMAC comes in with a flying V, but it was a flying V with polka dots. That's right. Which he was pretty cool, but it always just reminds me of Nigel Tufnell playing guitar. Remember how he had those spandex pants that had polka dots all over them? Oh, goodness. All right. How about some guitars with Carlos Santana? Now he's famous for playing, obviously he's famous for working with a particular company now, Carlos Santana, but he's had a few famous ones. Yeah, now he works with his PRS, but he had that Yamaha double cutaway. He was one of the first people to work with that. Hey, Max. And Kevin. Yeah, Kevin says Rhoads is his favorite. Yeah, Rhoads is awesome for sure. All right. Yeah, he had that just Google the Lucille story. He had that that double cutaway. And he also had, I think, didn't he have like this Ibanez that was like an artist that was ridiculously ornate? He had that too, back in the day when those things were super, super heavy. I don't know how he lifted it because he's a small guy. All right. Type of guitar that Bruce Springsteen uses. Type of guitar that Bruce Springsteen uses. Yeah, he uses a Tele, but he actually used a Esquire in the day. Yeah, very similar to a broadcaster. So it's the Tele just with the bridge pickup. Yep, but Tele, he's used plenty of different Teles. I think originally he had that Esquire. Yeah, good. Let's see. Here's a good one. How about Billy Gibbons? What are some guitars that he's known for? He had some weird ones. Yeah, he's got those like pearly gates stuff. Yeah, he had that cigar box, but it wasn't quite a cigar box, right? Now, TBA isn't chiming in here, but TBA knows about the Billy Gibbons guitars. Yeah, that's right. He has the American flag Tele. He has that one that's shaped like the U.S. It's got the cutout that's shaped like the U.S. But this one was a weird one that he had earlier. It's kind of like the muddy. It was called the muddy wood, which was basically a Muddy Waters guitar, and it had this weird thing that looked. You can look it up. Look up Muddy Wood, and it's just a weird looking guitar. Tay Benson State of Texas guitar. Yeah, that's right. He has that one as well. I think he had one of Texas. I know he had one of that. Okay. What was Keith Richards' guitar? We all know Keith Richards. What did he play? He played a special Telecaster, and it was called Macabre. That's right, Garrett. That's right. It's called Macabre, and it had I don't know what it had, its neck pickup was, but it was a humbucker, probably a Gibson PAF, and a Tele on the bottom. And TBA told me that it also he normally played it without the low E string. So that's kind of interesting. All right. See you. Head to Costco, Frank. Have a good one. Yeah, 5 string. So there you go. Macabre 5 string. So was it actually built to only have 5 strings, or did he just take the 6th string off? See you, Frank. High Music 53, 55. He took off the 6. So it wasn't actually built to only have 5 strings. He just took it off. Okay. Cut it off. Cool. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Let's see. I mean, of course, Hendrix was favorite for a certain type of guitar, right? And that's probably one of the main reasons why it became so popular. Other people use Strats, but now, of course, they make one that, if you're a right-handed player, you can play like Hendrix. It's upside down, the pickup's turned the other way, and so forth. Do you think that's where they got the, you know how some people really like that reverse headstock? Do you think that's why? Do you think that's where people thought it was cool? I don't know. Scott Ian from Anthrax played a 5-string. No kidding. Didn't know that, Kevin. Hey, Gib. How you doing? Could be. Yeah, I think people either love reverse headstocks or they hate them. I'm not a fan, but it's funny. Once you get them, they're fine. I've had it. You can get deeper bends and easier access to volume controls, apparently, with righty playing lefty. No kidding. Okay. Interesting to know. I mean, there's all this lore about how the pickup was shaped, but he usually used the neck pickup anyway, right? So anyway, all right, so here's another easy one. How about Larry Carlton? Now, I have to admit, I was kind of surprised that I'm always surprised. Larry Carlton is one of my favorite players. I think he's one of the best players. People don't seem to like any videos of Larry Carlton, so I'm going to stop doing them. But what was he famous for? Yeah, 335. That's right. What do we win? Nothing today. Nothing today. Nothing today for winning the quiz. We used to do winners for quizzes and not doing that anymore. Garrett says he's jonesing for a telly right now. Yeah, well, tellies are pretty awesome. David McLean. What about Page's Dragon Telly? Yeah, so we're coming to that for sure. So actually, that's a good segue. So what was Page famous for? Page had a number of famous guitars. So now people are talking about the Dragon Telly, right? The Dragon Telly. But he was mostly famous for that Les Paul sound that was really defined by Led Zeppelin II. I think Led Zeppelin II was when he really came out with like his signature sound that everybody kind of copied. And it's just kind of a strange thing that on Stairway he played Telly, because Les Paul was by then his favorite, or his normal guitar. But yes, he also was famous for that SG double neck. That's right. Famous for that. So Joe Walsh gave him that 59. Joe Walsh gave it to him. Wish I had a friend like Joe Walsh. Yeah. In the old days, he played on Stairway. He played that double neck Telly double necked SG all the time. I think wasn't one was a 12-string and one was a 6-string, right? So I think that's there. Yeah, and he played a Dan Electro for a while. Mm-hmm. But definitely that Les Paul, that cherry red Les Paul, cherry sunburst Les Paul. Beautiful. 6112, I think, is the model. Okay. Got one. What did Ace Frehley play before he played a Les Paul? I have no idea, Alf. What did Ace Frehley play before he played a Les Paul? Banjo? See what people Telly. Yeah, I mean, he played a bunch of stuff. Page played a bunch of stuff for sure. Maxwell Telly. An Ovation breadwinner. Yeah, well, Ovation didn't make much bread on that one. I used to have Ovation guitars. The only person I know who played Ovation guitars, electric guitars, consistently through his whole career was Glenn Campbell. He remained until the very end, when basically Ovation was no more. He remained very loyal to Ovation. And they were all goofy looking guitars. And that Jeff Lynne had a breadwinner. Okay, well, there you go. There's another guy. Kind of a pile. Okay. I had an Ovation acoustic guitar. It didn't really sound very well. Okay, they look like weapons. Okay, not my thing. Oh, is the axe? Didn't even who played the axe? That was Gene Simmons, right? Didn't Gene Simmons play an axe guitar? Oh well. All right, there's a few others here. Oh, how about Ted Nugent? So Ted Nugent is known for a type of guitar, right? Glenn Campbell Ovation acoustic. Yeah, that's what I had. It played unbelievable. It played great, but it just didn't sound great to me. A Birdland. That's right. Gibson Birdland. Well, like um, I like that. Is the Telly a Mim? It is not. It is a Squire, and it's not only a Squire. It is a Squire Affinity. It's a Squire Affinity, so it's thinner and it's lighter, which I like. The neck on this thing is unbelievably good, unbelievable, and it feels great too because it's like a super light satin finish, and it just feels great. That's amazing. Husqvarna Telly, yeah, that's right. And plus, I like the color. I think the color is really cool. But Gibson smashing the Firebird X. Yeah, I did see that. There's a video of Gibson smashing all those Firebird X's. I guess they weren't good enough for quality control, so they gave them away. What are they, like $8,000 a piece or something? Yeah, I agree, Elf. They're Squires. They make great guitars. I mean, you can get some duds, but you can get some duds, but honestly, this one that I have, if I change the pickups in it, it's got good hardware. The nut, of course, stinks, but the nut's a $50 part. I can change that. If I put better pickups in it, it'll be better. But as long as the body and the neck are good, I think it's ultimately going to be a good guitar if it's put together well. All right. Anyway, you compare them to back in the 80s or in the 70s when you bought a guitar, you had to spend $1,000 just to get it playable. So Matt Delahunt says, sometimes I wish Dwayne Allman played a Telecaster. Well, we have enough Tele players. Dwayne did what he did. I'll take it. He defined that, man. Played that Les Paul. All right. There's a few other ones in here. Let's see. So what was Harrison's name for his painted Strat? He had a painted Strat as well. Harrison had a couple of famous guitars. One that was given to him, I think, by Clapton, which was a special guitar. And his painted Strat was called Rocky. That's right. He called that Rocky. And then, George Harrison. Yeah. The LP was called Lucy. That's right. The LP, I don't know what Rocky was used on. Maybe somebody can tell me, but the Les Paul was used as that's the guitar that plays the lead on While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Hippie Peace and Love Sign. Yeah, I think so. I think it had that. No problem, Matt. No problem. Dwayne had a Telly with a fuzz tone built on it. Is that right? See, I mean, they all played those, everything that's around, Rocky was on Rubber Soul and Revolver and some of the White Album. No kidding. No kidding. Yeah, George is one of my favorites. If you look back in the archives and you can see my, quote, top 10 guitarists, just my opinion, George is number 2. I think George Harrison's one of the absolute best of the rock era guitarists, and highly, highly, highly underrated. Just because he can't play Yngwie Malmsteen style technique, he gets dissed on. But his ideas, very, very powerful. His play, very, 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 very. Soulful isn't even the right word. It's just so emotive, and his note choices are better than anybody's. My opinion. But also Robin Ford's opinion. Robin Ford, who is no slouch, he's another one of my favorites, along with Larry Carlton. he said that he was asked in an interview, who surprised you the most? And he said, George Harrison. Of all the people you worked with, who surprised you most? He said, George Harrison. George Harrison was a lot better than I ever imagined, he said. Yep. Anyway, that's my opinion. Let's see. How about McCartney? What's McCartney known for? Not really a guitar. What's McCartney known for? Beatle bass, but yeah, what is it? A Hofner. Yeah, that's right. It's a Hofner. That Hofner violin bass. Okay. So what are some other special, or what are some, oh, I gave it away. What are some other really famous guitars that are out there, or people that are, known for? Yeah, Robin Ford. I mean, there's a lot of clones now of Robin Ford. Elvin Bishop played the ES335. Yeah, known for that. Robin Ford is everybody copies him now, but he is amazing player. I've got all of his albums. They're all good. That's right. Jerry Garcia had the Wolf guitar, the Tiger guitar. That's right. Willie had Trigger. I love it, Trevor. That's great. Yeah, Willie had his Trigger. Geddy Lee with that Rick. Gilmore's was just called the Black Strat, and it was listed. It had serial number 1, but apparently it wasn't like a really number 1 serial number. I don't know what the full story is on that. That was just sold for like $2.4 million or something like that. Amazing. It was sold for that. Oh yeah, that's right. Vai had the Gem. He's definitely known for that Ibanez Gem. Played it for a long time. Yeah, Neil Young played Old Black, that Les Paul. Of course. So GMAC has to say Eddie Van Halen, his Frankenstrat, right, with the tape, and he had the purple version and the red version and the black version. Yeah. Yeah, Ron, I agree. I mean, he's Robin Ford just combines blues and jazz perfectly. Rick Nielsen had a 6-neck guitar. That's right. What a goofball that guy was. Didn't he? He was also known for having a huge guitar collection, I think, right? Keith had his Macabre. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier. Yep. Tony Iommi. Yeah, what was his called? He had a Old Guy or something like that. Old Boy. Oh, Gilmore's White Blonde Strat was number 1. Okay. Is that right? I think that's the one that he used. Didn't he use that one on Brick and a Wall? I don't know. He used that one on one. But on Comfortably Numb, it's his Black Strat with EMG pickups in it by then. I think, well, no, I don't know if he had his EMGs in it by then. Terry Kath's daughter has O2. That's right. Buddy Guy plays that polka dot Strat, right? The Duck, says TBA. So don't tell anybody who played the Duck. Who played the Duck? Who played the Duck? We'll see if somebody says it. Anyway. Chuck Berry. Yeah, that's a great answer, David. No. It's a little bit later. It was a guy from the 80s and 90s, more with big hair. Yngwie, that's right. Yngwie Malmsteen played the Duck. Yep. All right. Yeah, and somebody mentioned Bo Diddley. That was a Gretsch. That thing had the box guitar there. Yeah. Corey Congilio. He's a teacher, I know, on True Fire. Good player. James Burton made the Pink Taste. Is that right? I didn't know that was James Burton who did that. I did not know. James Burton, real unsung hero of guitar for sure. He's playing on a lot of, I know he played with Elvis, but he's playing on a lot of the Graham Parsons stuff too. Really awesome. Roy Buchanan, yeah, played at Telly. How about Peter Green's guitar, right? That was pretty famous. Oh, that's right. Zakk Wylde's Bullseye, for sure. Yeah, ML Willie Nelson's guitar was called Trigger. Yeah, also with John Denver. Is that right? Did not know. Roy Gallagher, always known for playing a Strat for sure. I don't know. Was David Smith, was Rory Gallagher's Strat anything different? Like Peter Green, yeah, he had the out of phase pickups, and I think he just did it by turning one of them around. And Gary Moore ended up with that as well. I don't know who has it now, but I don't know who has it now. Joe B has it. Okay, that makes sense. So Joe Bonamassa has it. Great. Good to know. I mean, at least it went to somebody who cares, right? That's really cool. Roy Strat was relicked. Yeah, it was relic from him playing it. 38 Special guitar guy used a Hamer guitar. Yeah. Kirk Hammett owns that. Oh, which one does Kirk Hammett own, G-Mac? Peter Green's Les Paul is Hammett's. Oh, okay. It's not Joe Bonamassa's. Okay. Okay. Kirk Hammett has it. Well, at least it's, again, another guy who really loves guitar and cares about it. Vinnie Vincent's Flying V is infamous. I don't even know who Vinnie Vincent is. Is that an old time guy, or is he a metal guy or big hair? If he's big hair, I don't know it for sure. That's right. Lindsey Buckingham had that weird one. Kirk paid $1 million for it. Yeah, Kiss. Gene Simmons had that Axe guitar, right? For sure. I know you guys are probably not going to get this, but Tony Rice plays a famous guitar. Ace's replacement in Kiss. Okay. Sounds good. What did Nigel Tufnell play? I don't know. He wouldn't even let us look at it. No, don't touch it. Don't even look at it. He played a few. Remember the one where you could hear it? You hear it sustain. Oh, it's known for its sustain. Oh, you could go out and have a bite. Oh, it'd still be playing. Can't you hear it? Oh, I can't. No. Well, you would if it were plugged in. Love it. Sustain was great. Yeah. Plus the thing that he played the violin bow with it. All right. Anyway, awesome stuff. So Tony Rice is probably, after Doc Watson, the most famous bluegrass player. He had Clarence White's Martin. And Clarence White played with the Byrds, but he also was an incredible bluegrass player and kind of defined part of the genre that moved into the Tony Rice direction as opposed to Doc Watson. But so anyway, Nigel Tufnell was inspired by Jeff Beck. I think he was inspired by a lot of folks, Fender Man. Clearly with the violin stuff where he picks up the violin and he's playing with it. I think that came from Led Zeppelin, don't you? Anyway, Nigel's one of my favorites. There's actually a great video of him playing like Sweet Georgia Brown with Les Paul, and he can actually play it. Yeah, Nigel does look like Jeff Beck for sure. Same haircut. Well, a lot of people had mullets that time as well. All right. So the only one that I haven't seen people mention is Brian May. Brian May had a very famous guitar. He still does. And it's amazing how he still plays. It's the same one. Apparently, he still has that red special. Yeah. Oh, is that right, G-Mac? I didn't see you say it. Sorry about that. Didn't he say it took like 1.5 years for he and his dad to build? Yeah, he played it's his own one that he made. I think there's only one that he made. It was made from a log that was on his mantelpiece, all this whole thing. And it's still the one that he uses in concert today. He said the only thing he's really changed is the tuning machines and maybe the pickups, because the pickups get metal shavings on them all the time because he plays with a coin, so it wears the strings down and does that. Oh, that's right. Peter Frampton's 3 pickup Les Paul. That one has an amazing story to it. It was stolen, right? Wasn't it stolen in South America or something like that, and came back to him like 20 years later? Something like that. I always used to think it looked cooler because on the cover of Frampton Comes Alive, it's got the lights flashing off of it and it has this weird tinge of yellow, and it makes it seem like it was like a tobacco sunburst that was a little bit different, but it's really just a black one, right? With the 3 pickups. Plane crash and stolen. Yeah. 30 years to get back. Pretty awesome. It is all black, right? With 3 pickups. George's Lucy was kidnapped and he had to pay to get it back. What kind of person would kidnap a guitar? What kind of person would kidnap a guitar? I don't know. What are your favorites of all the special guitars we've been talking about? I mean, if you had to have one, or if somebody were just going to give you one, which one would you get? Which one would you take? Roy had a bunch of guitars. He played all those kind of jazz guitars in the early 60s. Impossible to answer. Well, that's why it's fun. So Kevin says trigger. If you get one, you get trigger. That's good. Like, we're not talking about stealing anybody's guitar. They give it to you in their will or something like that. Striper's yellow and black V guitar. Yes, the 335 blonde. Okay, I love 335s, and I love blonde 335 as well. Great guitars. Clarence White's Bender. Gibson. Spardella Julio says Gibson. George Benson, right. So George Benson has played Ibanez's for a long, long time. And his jazz guitar is like really special. It's like small body, so it's extremely comfortable, but it's still fat. It's small body, easier to hold than a full bout. Yeah, I'd be very interested in Larry Carlton's 335. That would be maybe one of mine. I know Larry's still living, so he'll have to have it. Schenker's Flying V. Oh, yeah. There you go. Elf is a country guy. Hendrix's White Strat, says Wilf. That's a great choice. Benson's original was a Gibson Johnny Smith. That's right. He played Gibson Johnny Smiths. But when he went to Ibanez in the middle of the 70s or late, around the middle of the 70s, he designed that guitar that he has with the both of the pickups are floating pickups. So, and it's just a much smaller body. They're mini humbuckers and floating pickups. Has the brass nut. I was such an idiot for not picking one up in the 90s. I stopped any guitar. They had one for like $500 or $600, and I didn't pick it up. It was just unbelievable. It was very ornate as well. The tuning machines on that were just amazing. Alan Collins, Clapton Firebird. Well, anyway, I think that's the one that I would pick, would be that one. But there's so many good guitars. There's so many good ones. Paul Stanley's mirrored Ibanez Iceman. Yes, we did forget it. I think Elf likes Kiss. I think that's pretty evident. All right. Well, anyway, gang, I think I'm going to take off. Remember, there's no show next week. I'm taking the week off just to recharge my batteries and to take a short break. There will be 2 videos. I've already got a couple recorded. One's kind of funny. You'll have to see. I've got a funny thumbnail. Hope you enjoy it. It's meant to be a joke. Okay. It's not meant to be serious. And anyway, so we've got a couple more. We've got the guitar riff boot camp. Hopefully you guys are liking that one. And I would say, again, leave any suggestions in the bodies of the videos. It's hard on the live chat to leave them, but yeah, thanks, Trevor. Really, thanks for coming by. I appreciate it. And Ron, thanks for coming by. GMAC, David, everybody. But yeah, do leave me notes. I mean, I'm doing some of Rick Beato's stuff, but I'm moving away from that as well. Okay, Kevin, awesome. Thanks for hanging out today. Really appreciate it. And yeah, any ideas you have for the live shows are great. And let me know. Somebody has asked, I know not more than one have asked me for showing how I learn a song or how I learn a solo from scratch. So how I figure it out and transcribe it and whatever. So I think that's coming in the future. We'll spend some time doing that. Max, thanks for coming today. You have a good one too. Matt, thanks, Matt. Rock Around the Clock. Yeah, that's on my list. It's on my short list. Oh, shoot. I don't have it here. It's in another room, but it's on my short list of things to do. Rock Around the Clock. TBA, thanks again for this is kind of TBA's quiz. We didn't do it in the quiz. We just kind of did it discussion-wise, but anyway, so there we go. All right. Be careful fishing. Yeah, I got to wait a few, maybe a week or two to let my shoulder heal. So, but I'll be careful. I'll stay away from those muskies. All right. Okay. Yeah, TBA, thanks for everybody coming by. Enjoy your Sunday, and appreciate your coming by as always. We'll see you around. We'll see you on down the road. That's what I'm supposed to say, right? All right. See you.